One Piece is back, kinda, but it is back, just not from the sources that we would expect it to be back from. Either way, we're gonna generally talk about it. Then once the other thing comes out, then I'll give you guys my thoughts with better translations. But it is what it is. Here we are. I'm excited. Let's talk about it because this chapter, I don't know how it did it. I do know how it did it, but it got me more excited for Elbaf. And again, people are gonna be like, well, you said you weren't excited for the Giants. I'm genuinely not. It's not just about the Giants. It's about what Elbaf seemingly is being perceived to be by me, is that it's leading itself or leaning into itself being Skypiea Part 2. Genuinely, one of the best arcs in One Piece for lore. Now, I know Skypiea gets a lot of love post finding out about One Piece and finding more out about the story, but Skypiea is one of those that, as a One Piece fan, you just don't skip, all right? But in Elbaf, with the lore, the mention of Saul, and then some things from this chapter, I am super excited for where this is going. But let's not waste any time or any more. I mean, that's like saying what I said before was waste. Let's just not waste any. Let's get to it. Hey everyone, B.D.A. Law here, and normally in One Piece, after every arc, they have one of the best banquets and the best and longest sleeps to recover. And today, I want to talk to you about something that's crucial for a good night's sleep: your mattress. And I've partnered with Helix Sleep, and let me tell you, they've got something special for you. Helix Sleep makes premium mattresses customized to fit your needs and conveniently shipped right to your door. But what sets them apart is their sleep quiz. It matches your unique body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. I personally took the sleep quiz, and based on my sleep position and firmness preferences, Helix matched me with their Midnight Lux mattress. I've had my mattress for a while now, and let me tell you, it's been a game changer. I used to experience discomfort and restless nights. I was like Blackbeard, man. I wasn't sleeping. But since switching to Helix, my sleep has improved drastically. The best part? The Helix mattresses are fiberglass free, unlike many other brands. You might have heard about the recent issues with fiberglass in mattresses, but with Helix, you can sleep easy, knowing they don't use it. They prioritize your health and safety. But ordering from Helix is a breeze. They deliver the mattress right to your door, rolled up in a box, and setting it up is a piece of cake. Whether I'm reading some new manga, watching some new anime, or just enjoying some downtime, my Helix mattress provides the perfect blend of comfort and support. It's a hybrid combination of foam and springs, and I could not be happier with it. So guys, we have an amazing Black Friday deal happening, and with this sale, you will be getting 27% off your mattress purchase plus 2 free pillows, and you could also get a free bedding bundle with the Luxe or Elite order. If it makes you nervous to buy something that you have not tried, Helix has a 100-night sleep trial. So you get more than 3 months to make sure that you love it. Plus, the Helix mattress, it has a 10-year warranty. The deals, sometimes they just sell themselves. And again, thanks to Helix Sleep for sponsoring this video. Sleep tight, everyone. They're rebuilding Udon Castle. It's being reconstructed at the mines. Now, here's the thing. I wonder if this is gonna tie into the thieves, the kidnapping, all this different stuff. Was all that for the greater good to like basically kidnap people to work on these things? That would be insane because we know what was happening at the prisoner mines. Like literally that's what they were doing. So yeah, I hope that's not what's happening again, but we're at the prisoner mines. Yamato the cover story continues. I know generally people don't care too much about the cover story because we just left Wano, but it's important stuff happening. It's just not gonna be revealed until the end. So it is what it is. We'll see where it goes from here, and that's it. Let's get to the chapter. The chapter, it begins in a way where it's prototypical, meeting people that we really don't know necessarily, and they're giving context as to what's going on. And of course, Luffy hyped by Shanks. It's just inevitable where Shanks is gonna hype Luffy. I mentioned this in my reaction, but I do not think that Shanks being evil should even be a thing anymore. I know it's like a shock jock type thing that would happen in the story because Oda, he's been building up Shanks, been building up Luffy, and how much Shanks seems to care about Luffy. But for Shanks to turn on Luffy, I would hate that so much. Y'all have no idea. But Shanks every single time is gonna be Luffy's biggest supporter. And even in Elbaf, he's talking and singing Luffy's praises. So I just don't believe in that theory. I'm gonna just say that. However, everybody's back now. Hiruden and his crew, Dory and Brogy, and the great Eric, everybody's back, and Hiruden and those guys, they're trying to catch a ride on the rainbow with them. At first, I'm like, what the hell? What does that even mean? Catch a ride on the rainbow? What are we doing here? I thought it was figurative. I don't know, but it's One Piece. So like when somebody says something and it sounds ridiculous, it's probably because it's meant to be, and that's the world we live in. It's a fantastical, bro. We have a devil fruit that's a jacket fruit where you can wear somebody else. There's nothing that's too ridiculous. That's why when people talk about things being too ridiculous in One Piece, I'm like, what the Let's continue. Oda did a thing here, which I'm sure it's intentional, where we got two perspectives of the rainbow, right? Where one is from the Giants' perspective, where they know what a rainbow means. And then from the Straw Hats, they're just like, well, the Straw Hats, Bonnie, Lilith, at this point, they're all the Straw Hats. They're looking at a rainbow like, oh my God, it's so pretty. It's so beautiful. You know, it's just amazing to look at. Where perception-wise, for us as well, I feel like a lot of things are going to change by the end of this arc, right? So I like that contrast where it's like the Giants say, yo, we're gonna ride on this. The Straw Hats like, oh my God, it's so pretty. So for me, I'm excited because I'm expecting to feel that way now after reading the chapters, like, oh, they can travel on rainbows. We're gonna get to that. I also feel very warm seeing Robin with the new hairstyle, the new old hairstyle, and Bonnie as well, just being a kid. She's in her kid form and she's just like, yo, it's so clear it's a rainbow. And when you think back to her and her dad and the things they talked about, the places she wanted to visit, she's experiencing these things with the Straw Hats, and she gets to be a kid. Like, she finally gets to be a kid here with the Straw Hats. She doesn't have to worry about protecting her back and being a pirate captain. At 12 years old, she can just be a freaking kid, man. I mean, how can you not love that, man? But this chapter, again, is set up. It is explaining how things work, where things are, what things are, and for us to understand better how Elbaf functions generally in regards to the realms, how you travel, just how things work here, and then a teaser at the end in regards to staying on Elbaf for too long, which goes back to the lore of even Little Garden and could go way, way deeper based on what was speculated. I'll get there. Again, both groups, like Egghead, if you guys remember, are finding things out about this world at the same time. When Luffy was separated from the others, when he was with Stella in Egghead, he was finding out about the robot and about the ancient history. Whilst the others, like Sanji and those guys, were in there with Shaka, he was talking about the ancient history and the robots. And so it's just like Oda's doing the same thing here in Elbaf, where both groups finding out new things, and even Luffy and Robin both saying wow at the same time. Similar things. It's cool, right? It's really cool. I don't want to say Oda has shifted his writing style, but it's something I noticed from both arcs back to back, that he's making better use of the time and the Straw Hats being separated by somewhat insulating the information that we're getting. It's all being connected, so it doesn't feel as random and as tangential as it used to before. At some points, everything with Luffy can be that way, but at some point Oda's bringing it back in where it's like, okay, he met Loki, now he's not with Loki anymore. Then you're like, wait, what happened with Loki? Before we talk about what happened with Loki, we got to talk about the realms: Heaven, Sun, Underworld. We know about the Underworld already, right? That's where all the fodder is unplanned. Loki's down there. That's like where the castaways, the prison, that's what that is, which I would love for Zoro to explore without anybody else. I just want him to get lost in the underworld and just figure things out. Just a nice little solo journey for him. Again, we saw Zoro, he had a meeting with the Reaper, the Enma stuff. Does that tie into the underworld here with Elbaf? Probably not, but it just would be cool. The Sun realm, of course, because we have a sun god. And then you have the Heaven realm. Of course, every world, island, system has a hierarchy, and I'm sure the Heaven realm is where the gods live, the gods of Elbaf, or like the royalty of Elbaf. I would presume they live there. Dorian Brogy said that they live on the Sun realm, in the Sun realm, which most people seemingly live, and reminds me of Magi. It's like, it's somewhat classism where people are kind of separated based on class, and just, you know, which is typical in like these fantastical stories and most stories, right? It's separation in anything, even in the world we live in today. Like, it's just what it is. Either way, Oda is breaking down our areas of understanding and building them back up, because now Dorian Brogy, we find out, no, a rainbow isn't just, you know, light refracted off of raindrops, like, or onto raindrops, like Robin was saying. They're saying, no, a rainbow is something you travel on. What are you talking about? Is she crazy? So it's giving different perspective, and I love it, right? It is pulling me back into One Piece, right? Where it's ridiculous, it doesn't make sense. Sometimes it's not gonna make sense, and that's okay. And it's the feeling of adventure again. And I don't know, Dorian Brogy and how they live their life just seems so carefree, and a warrior's life, going through the world, they're fighting, they're having a good time. They talk about them drinking for 3 days straight. Now they get to travel on rainbows. Elbaf seems amazing, but I know there's a dark underbelly, and that dark underbelly is the underworld with someone like Loki who wants to bring forth Ragnarok. But that's not the only darkness that's hiding amongst Elbaf. It never is, because we'll talk about it. But I'm saying Oda is carefully, right, crafting perspectives of, man, beautiful, amazing scenery, amazing environment. Why wouldn't anybody want to live here? Why wouldn't everybody want to live here? It kind of gives me the feeling like when I went to Whole Cake Island, where it's just like, wait, this is actually awesome. You got all these different things. You got islands that are made of food. Why wouldn't nobody want to? Oh, you gotta, okay. And at the end, when they mentioned like Elbaf not being there too long, I'm like, well, shit, why not? Okay. The Straw Hats is such a tight-knit group, even though it doesn't feel that way sometimes because it feels like they don't talk to each other about their previous escapades. Either way, they're going along this rainbow and they're thinking of, man, Luffy and these guys, they're gonna love this, right? And you know how it is sometimes with family or your brothers or siblings, whatever, and you're experiencing something, you're like, man, they would love this, right? You're thinking about other people while this is happening just because you know and you kind of understand these people really well. Bonnie and Robin, it just makes me happy seeing Robin smile, and of course Bonnie as well. Again, she gets to be a kid. She gets to be a child. That's wonderful. I did feel happy though, seeing Hyruden and Dorian Brogy meeting, and it's like, man, it's been a long time. Just the giants that we've become fond of that are connected to the Straw Hats meeting, and they're on a rainbow traveling, right? It's like they're in this rainbow fantastical sea that's sprinkling as they're going along. The noises, and they're just talking about the Straw Hats and how everything is prepared for them, and it's like they can't wait to see them. And you're feeling again the adventure and the happiness just exuding from these giants, and it's almost like you can tell just how much fun they're having. You can tell just how much adventure and them living the life that they live, it means to them. So as a fan and seeing them and the fun they're having, Luffy's gonna have a blast in Elbaf. A blast. Luffy seemingly came from the underworld, and Luffy sees the sun. He's like, yo, that's our ship. What are you doing? And Gerd catches him, catches him, and then they start talking about Road. Gerd starts talking about how she loves humans. She wouldn't put him in a cage like Road, and she's nothing like him. He's weird, he's creepy, and she's really, really polite, almost overly polite. It's like, all right, calm down, chill out. Even Goldberg's like, yo, stop the glaze, relax. But they ask him, like, it looks like he just jumped out of the underworld. Like, what was going on? And then it flashes to Loki telling Luffy, hey, just don't tell anybody about our agreement, okay? All right? And Luffy, he is that sounds crazy, but it sounds like he's a slave to adventure. He can't help himself. And so Loki giving him not only the adventure, but also the incentive, he's like, what? Sure, I'll get the keys. And so like they're asking him, and Luffy's sweating, right? You know, Luffy, when he can't lie, so he's just sweating like, oh shit, what do I say here, you know? But ultimately Luffy's gonna do it. He's going to release Loki. He's gonna do it. And it's gonna be straight up chaos, but I don't, it's so different because typically Luffy comes in and he has somebody that he has to save or rescue, and it's easy, I think, to point out the difference or the type of person they are based on how Luffy perceives them, where it's just like Luffy meets this person, maybe they're good, maybe they're bad, and Luffy typically makes the decision, and the decision that he makes generally is the correct one. In this instance, a lot of us, we feel like it's the wrong decision. Like, you should not release Loki. He wants Ragnarok. He wants it. And they're going to release him because he has some info on Shanks. You know, I'm not saying Luffy's making the incorrect decision, because it's something like, Luffy's like, you know, I can just find out on my own, whatever. But the adventure to go find it, to come back, to meet him, the Shanks stuff is so intriguing to him. He cannot help himself. And I think it's going to be a situation where Luffy isn't straight on looking for the keys, but he's just going to, like, through his adventure, he's going to stumble upon him. He's going to be like, hey, and it seems like he's gonna do it, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. So of course the rest of the Straw Hats, Nami, Chopper, Zoro, Sanji, Usopp, they're in the Sun Realm, and of course Road is being a weirdo, still chasing after them. And then they fell a tree, it falls on Road, and Nami's like, come on, y'all doing a little bit too much, all right? And I was like, I don't think they did enough. You know, he could lose his arms pretty quickly, pretty easily. I think Zoro pretty easily. So they just, you know, had a tree fall on him, and it's cool. You should be thankful. I'm not gonna, you should be happy. Luffy reunites with the guys again because he left them to go see Loki. And Gerd and Goldberg, they of course, you know, put Road down with an attack because they're tired of him, and Gerd thinks he's a weirdo and he's creepy, which kind of is. Not kind of, he is. And Sanji, he sees a big Nami because that's what Gerd looks like, just a big Nami. And Sanji's like losing his mind. And Zoro's thought process is, well, like, okay, good. Now it doesn't look like we attacked them because of what they did. I'm like, you're right. The plan is for these guys to escort the Straw Hats from here just because they're part of Hiruden's crew. And of course, Luffy and those guys, they're Hiruden's guests. I mean, Luffy is Hiruden's dad. I mean, he's his captain, you know, that's the parent-child relationship that they set up. But so they're subservient to Luffy at the end of the day. They're going to escort them going forward. We get an amazing panel in the Sun Realm of Elbaf, and it's so biz. A view of Elbaf. It's a village, but it's obviously enormous in size. Each building, the bridges, it's just so beautiful. And I just love the panel so much just because, again, fantastical, mystery, adventure, that feeling is 1000% back. And Luffy is reminiscing with Usopp because they said they were going to go to Elbaf together. And now they're in Elbaf officially and they're looking at it. And you can't help but feel as a fan that you've been at the journey with them from the beginning, even though a lot of us started after. But you've been with them from the beginning and now they're here in Elbaf as a Yonko crew. It is wild. But we're here. We get there, then we get into narrator territory because at first I was like, what is going on? It said the immense size is truly a moving sight. Who can even convey this sight into words properly? And I'm just like, wait, what? I mean, they're correct. All I can say is fantastical, right? That's what I can say. But the narrator goes on and we see reactions from all the Straw Hats. Again, Bonnie and Sanji, he's just laying on, I'm assuming, Gerd's bosom, or on her thigh, wherever. Sanji's just taking it all in. Robin smiling, Zoro's, you know, just looking around, a little sweat bubble, because he's like, yo, this is insane. Like, everybody's taking in the sights. Chopper got the laser eyes. It's just star eyes, I should say. Everyone is taking it all in. But the focus here is the narrator. It says this is the Warland Kingdom, located in Elbaf Island, familiarly referred to as Elbaf, the kingdom of the giants, right? You try to focus on the Straw Hats and all the reactions that they're having, but it's kind of hard to because the narrator is telling us stuff too, right? Because everyone's kind of losing their mind because Elbaf is so amazing. But the narrator talks about the grass and trees, the vines and flowers, the insects and all the animals. All of them are breathtakingly beautiful. So then you're trying to follow the narrator, but also look at what's going on. But like in time, you piece it together. Essentially what the narrator is saying, who is an author, is saying everything is beautiful. The narrator, who ends up being the author, Louis Arnott, who was an adventurer, said, as breathtaking as everything is, the only thing I want to leave with you is do not linger in this land for too long. And whilst that is happening, whilst that's being shown, we see a silhouette that looks like the guy that was meeting with Crocus, right? Who we had speculated to be Shiki or Scapa Gaban, either one. And then we see a thing dressed like a bear. Now, people are starting to speculate. I'm starting to speculate that what if Elbaf, time moves differently here, right? Where it's, if you stay here too long, time starts being manipulated, whereas like one day in Elbaf could be different in the real world, something like that, right? Where you don't want to stay here for too long, or maybe staying there for too long, you don't want to leave. But it is building up Elbaf as this fantastical land. I don't know if you guys remember me talking about Elbaf and just getting to it and what it would take. It feels too fantastical to just like sail to it, right? So when we talk about the mist that would knock people out and then now the different realms, this is starting to like make more sense in my mind because Elbaf traveling on rainbows, all these different things. I'm just like, bro, this is actually insane. Now, for Louis Arnott, however you want to say it, why this is significant is that we have heard about this guy before. He is the author of Bragman, right? It's funny, Bragman. And Bragman is the favorite book of Deuce, Ace's first mate. If you've read the novel, that's in there too. This goes all the way back to Little Garden, right? If you guys remember, it's so much information being peddled throughout the years through SBSs and reading the story, because Oda talks about Bragman in one of the SBSs where he says that that's one of the books that was supposed to be destroyed in Ohara, but it was preserved. So Bragman is one of those. So it's one of the books that survived and was mass produced at a later date. This goes all the way back to chapter 115, where like Nami rushes out to warn the crew of what's going on in Little Garden based on Bragman and what was written in the book. So more than likely Bragman was either written fairly recently by Lewis, right? Talking about what happened in Little Garden, because for Dorian Broggie, they were there for like 100 years. So it has to be like somewhat around there, or time is moving differently. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Like why is Little Garden the way that it is? I'm starting to feel strange about everything that's going on, guys. Honestly, I think it's dope because even in the SBS, when Oda talks about it, he says that because it's so incredible that people are going to believe or not going to believe some of the stories, and like people are going to say like some of these things are lies and it might just be fiction. But Oda says you can basically make that judgment for yourself, that distinction based through the looking glass of the Straw Hats and their journey. So basically Bragman being brought up, or the author Bragman being brought up again, is no surprise. The person that even wrote the SBS in, they said they asked Oda 3 times. So Oda ignored it for a while. Then he's like, all right, let me just tell them about it because it's going to be relevant in the future. And so I think here with Louis or not, it's just, he is somebody that is credible. That's the whole point of me saying all that shit. He's credible. And so for him saying, do not linger in this land for long, I have my thoughts. Now, is this person Shiki? Is this person Kaban? Not sure. But we will talk about the possibilities and what makes the most sense here. We will. The chapter has built up my excitement for adventure again and just for Elbaf, and I cannot wait to see where this goes. Genuine. Let me know what you think, guys. How do you feel about the chapter? Like, subscribe.